Our planet is a vast library of life. Every leaf holds a story. Every fungus holds a story. Every flower holds a story. For millennia, humanity has sought to read these stories. We are, by our very nature, curious creatures. We look at a vibrant red berry and wonder, what does it do? We observe an animal chewing a particular root and ask, why that one? This innate curiosity is not just about survival, about finding food. It is about something deeper. It is a quest for knowledge, for understanding, and perhaps, for changing the very way we experience the world around us. This fundamental drive has led us down some of the most fascinating and complex paths in our shared history. The story of humanity's relationship with certain plants and chemicals is as old as our species itself. It's a tale of discovery, danger, healing, harm. In the dawn of human consciousness, the world was a place of profound mystery, sickness, pain, death, seen as the work of unseen forces, of spirits both benevolent and malevolent. To navigate this world, early societies relied on individuals who could bridge the gap between the physical and the spiritual, the shaman, the healer, the medicine man. These figures were the keepers of ancient knowledge. They knew the secrets of the earth, plants that bring visions, plants that soothe fevers, plants that stop wounds from festering. Their knowledge was their power. Across the globe, the Amazon rainforest to the Siberian tundra. In the Andes, the coca leaf was chewed for stamina and to ease high-altitude life. In ancient Mesopotamia, the Sumerians cultivated the opium poppy, the joy plant, the sacred soma of Vedic rituals in India, likely a psychoactive plant. These were not recreational pursuits. They were sacred tools for healing and enlightenment. These substances were used with a great sense of reverence and caution. Their use was often governed by strict rituals, passed down through generations. A shaman would not simply hand a powerful plant to just anyone. There would be ceremonies, chants, and a deep understanding of the proper context for its use. This was how societies managed the power of these potent natural chemicals. The visions from a peyote cactus or an ayahuasca brew were not for entertainment. They were for guidance, for healing deep spiritual wounds, or for seeking answers from the ancestors. It was a managed, sacred relationship with nature's potent chemistry. Yet, even in these ancient times, the duality of these substances was understood. The same poppy that could ease suffering could also create dependence. The mushroom that offered a glimpse into the spirit world could, if used improperly, lead to madness or poison. The line between a medicine and a poison is often a matter of dosage and intent, a lesson our ancestors learned through countless generations of careful observation. They saw both the light and the shadow. As empires rose and fell and humanity moved into the Middle Ages, the relationship with nature's pharmacy began to transform. The Silk Road and other bustling trade routes carried silks and spices, but also knowledge and medicines. Opium from the East made its way into the apothecaries of Europe and the Middle East. Cannabis, hashish, and other substances traveled with merchants and scholars. The world was becoming more connected. The global pharmacopoeia expanded, bringing new remedies and new challenges. In the Islamic Golden Age, scholars like Avicenna meticulously documented medicinal plants. They refined the art of distillation and extraction, creating more potent tinctures, oils, and powders. They were pioneers of pharmacology. Paracelsus famously declared that the dose makes the poison. In Europe, the role of the healer was split. Physicians of the universities and folk healers, wise women in villages. Amid superstition and fear, many folk healers were persecuted, their potent herbs taken as evidence of dark magic rather than medicine. The dawn of the scientific revolution in the 17th century and the 18th century, the focus shifted from spiritual explanations to empirical observation and chemical analysis. Scientists were no longer content to simply know that a plant worked. They wanted to understand why. This curiosity led to isolating active compounds from plants. The spirit of a plant held in a vial. One of the first and most dramatic examples was morphine isolated from the opium poppy by the German pharmacist Friedrich Zerturner in 1804. For millennia, opium had been powerful but unpredictable. Potency varied. Overdoses were a risk. Morphine, however, was a known quantity. doctors could administer a reliable dose to alleviate severe pain. It was a medical miracle, transforming surgery and chronic care. This discovery opened the floodgates. Quinine, from cinchona bark, provided the first effective malaria treatment and enabled colonial expansion into tropical regions. Cocaine was isolated, a wonder local anesthetic, and even appeared in popular tonics, including the original Coca-Cola. Atropine from deadly nightshade, caffeine identified in coffee. With the hypodermic syringe, effects became immediate and powerful. For a time, it felt like mastery over suffering. The 20th century witnessed an explosion in pharmaceutical innovation. Building on the 19th century, chemists not only isolated compounds but synthesized entirely new molecules. The first wave, antibiotics, beginning with penicillin in 1928. Deadly infections became treatable. Along with vaccines and sanitation, human lifespans soared. Anesthetics grew safer and more effective. Antidepressants offered hope. Medications to control blood pressure, manage diabetes, and treat cancers reshaped life and economy. The magic bullet mindset took hold, but the same ingenuity created immense potential for misuse and addiction. A tweak to morphine yielded heroin, marketed as a non-addictive cough suppressant. Amphetamines kept soldiers alert and later drove epidemics. Barbiturates and later benzodiazepines created generations dependent on pills. The cycle repeated: discovery, celebration, crisis, and regulation. The distinction between medicine and drug became a legal and social battleground. Substances that eased suffering also created it. After thousands of years of discovery and innovation, we live in a world saturated with chemical possibilities. Yet our reasons have remained remarkably consistent. An aspirin to quell a headache, an antibiotic to fight an infection, powerful chemotherapy to battle cancer. Modern medicine continues the ancient healer's quest, now armed with scientific understanding. Beyond physical healing, we seek to soothe the mind and soul. For many, psychoactive substances offer a temporary respite, a chemical shield against reality. From a glass of wine after a hard day to managing a clinical disorder, curiosity and pleasure drive use too. The mind seeks novelty and reward. Experimenting can feel like a rite of passage or a bond with peers. The ancient link to spirituality remains. Psychedelics like psilocybin and LSD are being revived for therapy and growth. Subcultures seek communion at music festivals. The desire to feel connected to something larger, to experience awe and wonder, is timeless. Looking back from the first human to chew a strange leaf to the complex landscape of 2025, a clear pattern emerges. Our relationship with drugs is not a modern problem, but an intrinsic part of the human story. A story of ceaseless curiosity, our vulnerability to pain, and our ingenious, often desperate, attempts to master biology and consciousness. The substances have changed, from raw botanicals to synthesized molecules, but the impulses endure. For healing, for ritual, for escape, for transcendence. History teaches the line between a medicine, a sacrament, and a poison is blurry, defined by culture, dosage, and intent. Heroin once sold as safe echoes in today's opioid crisis, solutions can become devastating problems. A historical lens invites compassion and nuance. Seeking relief is timeless. Addiction is a biological and psychological trap reset through history. Beyond simplistic bans, we must address pain, trauma, and disconnection that fuel demand. Ultimately, the history of drugs is the history of ourselves. It is a reflection of our greatest strengths, our intellect, our creativity, our desire to heal, and our most profound weaknesses, our susceptibility to addiction, our capacity for self-destruction, and our tendency to seek easy solutions for complex problems. The story is not over. As science unlocks the brain and creates more powerful tools to alter it, we face new, more complex choices. By learning from echoes of the past, we can approach the future with greater wisdom, humility, and a deeper understanding of the remarkable and often perilous human quest to change the way we feel. This is the history of drugs and why we use them.